Coca-Cola is the most mysterious brand in the world. Apart from OK, Coca-Cola is the most widely recognized word on Earth. Each day, 1.9 billion servings of Coca-Cola Company's products are consumed worldwide. Surprisingly, only 2 individuals know the formula for Coca-Cola, and this formula is stored in an underground vault at the Coca-Cola headquarters in Atlanta. With this formula, Coca-Cola doesn't have to produce a single bottle of cola. It merely needs to supply inexpensive syrup, reaping profits from beverage producers, governments, and taxpayers worldwide. Even if you don't drink Coke, you're contributing to its costs. It has become the most valuable beverage brand globally, admired even by investing guru Warren Buffett, representing the ultimate form of capitalism. However, Coca-Cola rarely discusses its origins, as its history contains several dark chapters. So today, let's delve into the detailed story of Coca-Cola's birth. In 1822, a book named Botanic Family Physician became a bestseller in the United States. This book introduced various herbal remedies for illnesses. Its author Samuel Thomson, despite lacking formal education, established a new medical system called Thomsonian medicine through self-study. He criticized doctors, accusing them of being murderers wielding surgical knives and various toxic medications, which led to his founding of Thomsonian medicine. At that time, the treatments offered by American doctors were indeed frightening. There were mainly 3 methods. 1. Bleeding patients with surgical knives. 2. Inducing patients to develop abscesses and then puncturing them. 3. Administering calomel, primarily made of mercury, or having patients ingest potassium nitrate, a main ingredient of gunpowder. Patients believed that following Thomson's herbal remedies would, at worst, induce vomiting, which was a much milder treatment compared to seeing doctors. Consequently, Thomsonian medicine attracted a significant following, leading to the establishment of various botanical colleges. John Pemberton, the inventor of Coca-Cola, enrolled in one of these botanical medical colleges when he was 17 years old. During that era, the most lucrative industry in the United States was the pharmaceutical industry. Newspapers were filled daily with advertisements for miraculous medicines, such as pills promising increased height, drugs ensuring a lifespan of 140 years, and even cures for all types of cancer, almost all of which were false claims. Pemberton held these fraudulent medicinal advertisements in contempt. With several years of education under his belt, prior to inventing Coca-Cola, Pemberton was a fairly well-known physician. He invented at least a dozen best-selling drugs, including remedies for pain, insomnia, and lack of appetite. Coca-Cola was the final medicine he concocted. The earliest formula of Coca-Cola was known as Pemberton's French wine Coca, containing cocaine and alcohol. Once, while perusing a pharmaceutical publication, Pemberton stumbled upon a plant called coca. Alkaloids extracted from coca leaves resulted in cocaine. At that time, it was prevalent to add cocaine to wine to create a beverage. Pemberton added cola nuts, whose primary function resembled that of coca leaves. When chewed, they acted as stimulants. The alkaloids extracted from cola nuts were caffeine. He claimed that this beverage could treat anorexia, headaches, and depression, not only refreshing and invigorating but also having aphrodisiac effects. Pemberton particularly emphasized that it was not false advertising. Tests proved that consuming Coca-Cola could quickly restore energy, invigorate the spirit, and relieve headaches. This beverage quickly gained popularity once introduced. Pemberton made a considerable profit from it. However, the good times didn't last long. The United States soon implemented prohibition, prohibiting the sale of alcohol. Consequently, this beverage was no longer allowed to be sold. Pemberton began modifying the formula, believing in the potency of coca leaves and cola nuts, hoping to create a non-alcoholic drink that still contained coca leaves and cola nuts. Initially, he added natural fruit essences to the drink, but it made the taste extremely bitter. He then added sugar to dilute the bitterness, but it became sickeningly sweet. He added citric acid to neutralize the nauseating sweetness. Finally, this syrup was created. When Pemberton inadvertently mixed the syrup with carbonated water, Coca-Cola, as a beverage, was born. In Prohibition-era America, Coca-Cola naturally became an alternative to alcoholic beverages. In its second year, Coca-Cola had a monthly sales volume of 25,000 servings. Besides its great taste, one crucial factor for its high sales was marketing. In its second year, Coca-Cola gained a significant partner, Frank Mason Robinson. He coined the name Coca-Cola, which not only rolled off the tongue but also incorporated the main ingredients, coca leaves, and cola nuts. Robinson designed the iconic handwritten Coca-Cola logo that has remained largely unchanged for over a century. His advertising slogan was innovative. Coca-Cola, delicious, refreshing, exhilarating, invigorating. At that time, most advertisements were lengthy, while Robinson's concise and powerful slogan was rare, making it easily memorable. Why did Robinson design such a modern slogan? Not because he was a marketing genius, but to save money. When Coca-Cola first launched, they didn't have the funds for extensive newspaper advertisements. A simple advertisement was much cheaper. A large oilcloth sign cost only $1. Robinson created a white oilcloth sign with red lettering for Coca-Cola and hung it on the awning of a pharmacy. After a year, almost every soda fountain in Atlanta had these oilcloth advertisements, attracting a significant number of customers to Coca-Cola. While Coca-Cola's business was flourishing, Pemberton wanted to sell the formula and trademark of Coca-Cola and did so for only $1. By then, Pemberton was addicted to drugs and suffering from stomach cancer. Aware of his impending death, he sold the formula to numerous individuals, then passed away 2 years after inventing Coca-Cola. The formula changed hands and ended up with a businessman named Asa Candler. He suffered from headaches and indigestion and accidentally drank Coca-Cola, immediately feeling relieved of his headaches and indigestion. So, he began acquiring the Coca-Cola formula and trademark. In 1891, the Coca-Cola Company was formally registered in Atlanta, United States. 1/3 of the Coca-Cola Company's expenses went into marketing. They rented many billboards and printed numerous peripheral products like fans, baseballs, notepads, calendars, all bearing the handwritten Coca-Cola logo, omnipresent in American life. By 1910, there were over 370 bottling plants throughout the United States, and advertising expenses soared to over $1 million. Why did this fledgling company have so much money for advertising? Because Coca-Cola's production costs were incredibly low. Usually, to sell a beverage nationwide, transportation costs were prohibitively high. However, Coca-Cola's transportation costs were remarkably low because they only sold concentrated syrup, requiring minimal carriage space to transport vast quantities. Once the syrup reached soda fountains or pharmacies, they added 80% soda water to make the finished Coca-Cola. Due to Coca-Cola providing only syrup, the taste of the drink varies among different stores. Some have good flavors, while others add a lot of ice. Some less honest stores do not mix the syrup with water in the correct proportion, resulting in an inconsistent taste due to the mix and serve method. Moreover, in hot cities like Atlanta, there are vending machines everywhere, but in cooler regions or rural areas, Coca-Cola is unavailable. A lawyer named Benjamin Thomas noticed this opportunity and envisioned bottling Coca-Cola to address these issues. He presented samples to a person named Chandler, stating that when people buy a cup of Coca-Cola from a store and carry it around, the fizziness fades away. However, if it's bottled, people could enjoy the carbonated drink anytime, anywhere, which would significantly boost Coca-Cola sales. However, Chandler wasn't interested. He believed the bottling business wouldn't yield much profit. He sold Coca-Cola syrup to them at $1 per gallon, allowing them to mix it with water and bottle it themselves. The hastily signed contract had no expiration date, meaning Coca-Cola could never reclaim the bottling rights. Additionally, while the contract fixed the Coca-Cola syrup price at $1 per gallon, it didn't specify whether this price could change. When sugar prices surged, Coca-Cola couldn't increase the syrup's price. Importantly, if bottlers raised the drink's price, Coca-Cola wouldn't gain any additional profit. To counter this situation, Coca-Cola designed a new bottle to distinguish its product from others and negotiated a fixed price of 5 cents per bottle with bottlers. To achieve this goal, Coca-Cola launched a nationwide campaign with ads stating, "Drink Coca-Cola, 5 cents. Thomas, the lawyer with bottling rights, didn't establish his bottling factory but authorized numerous bottling plants. These plants, realizing Coca-Cola's high demand, ramped up production and willingly helped Coca-Cola establish its sales network. Coca-Cola only needed to produce syrup and advertise. Many advertisements were funded by the bottlers. Eventually, Coca-Cola continued down this path, directly approaching influential local figures to become bottlers, even engaging governments to assist in sales. This sales model completely circumvented market risks. During this time, many imitations of Coca-Cola emerged, such as Pepsi-Cola. In Greek, Pepsi means digestion. In 1898, Bradham developed a stomach remedy, which he turned into a cola-flavored drink. Even the name Pepsi-Cola piggybacked on Coca-Cola's popularity. However, these imitations did not pose a significant threat to Coca-Cola at that time. In fact, Coca-Cola faced more threats from itself. As the drink gained popularity, the public began questioning its safety due to the inclusion of cocaine. Some pointed out that Coca-Cola could cause addiction. There were internal suggestions to alter the formula of Coca-Cola and remove cocaine. However, Candler firmly believed that the Coca-Cola formula should not be changed. He had a deep affection for the beverage since it solved his headache problem. He argued that removing cocaine would eliminate its brain-stimulating effects, so he adamantly opposed any change. Nevertheless, Coca-Cola eventually removed cocaine and no longer extracted caffeine from cola nuts, replacing them with artificial flavors and caffeine extracts. Oddly enough, after these changes, Coca-Cola sold even better. It turned out that people didn't drink Coca-Cola primarily for its stimulating effects but because it tasted good. They believed they needed a beverage rather than medicines from a pharmacy. Additionally, with the outbreak of the Spanish-American War, a special war tax was imposed on patented drugs. Since Coca-Cola was considered a medicine, it was subject to this tax, which Candler found unacceptable. Consequently, Coca-Cola changed its product positioning from medicine to beverage. During this period, Coca-Cola developed smoothly, earning Candler a lot of money. He even became the mayor of Atlanta. After stepping down as mayor in 1919, his children sold the Coca-Cola company to others for a price 10,000 times higher than the acquisition price, $25 million. On September 5, 1919, with the manipulation of some capitalists, Coca-Cola was successfully listed. Until 1934, the United States had just experienced the Great Depression, and many believed that Coca-Cola's price of 5 cents was too high. At this time, Pepsi-Cola decided to cause trouble for Coca-Cola through a price war. As mentioned earlier, the cost of bottled colas was minimal, just syrup mixed with soda water. Even if they added more ingredients, the profit margin wouldn't decrease much. Pepsi-Cola rolled out an ad stating, "Twice as much for a nickel, 2/ Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you." Since Coca-Cola sold 6 ounces for 5 cents, Pepsi-Cola introduced 12-ounce bottles for 5 cents. In 1939, Pepsi-Cola launched a national radio ad, "A Nickel Drink," featuring catchy music. It became the first broadcasted ad nationwide and was translated into 55 languages. Considered one of the most memorable ads of the 20th century.
Trickle, 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 Pepsi-Cola hits the spot. 12 full ounces, that's a lot. Twice as much for a nickel, too.
By 1941, Pepsi-Cola's market share had risen to 14%. Through this low-price strategy challenging Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola transformed from an unknown brand to the second-largest soda company in America. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola was expanding its international market. After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, Coca-Cola publicly announced that no matter where in the world their military was stationed, regardless of the high costs, they would ensure that every soldier could buy a bottle of Coca-Cola for 5 cents. Thus, Coca-Cola, as a military necessity, accompanied the U.S. military to the battlefield. With the approval and support of Eisenhower, wherever the army went, Coca-Cola established bottling plants, from Iceland to North Africa, setting up 64 plants overseas. Millions of bottles of Coca-Cola were sent to the U.S. military worldwide every day. According to statistics, Coca-Cola sold a total of 10 billion bottles during the Second World War, with 50% sold to the military. Participating in World War II was Coca-Cola's largest and most successful marketing campaign. Internally, it successfully molded itself into a symbol of American spirit, while externally, it reached beyond the United States, becoming a beverage that the entire world went crazy for. After World War II, Coca-Cola successfully established a global production and sales network. By 1948, Coca-Cola's total profit reached $1.26 billion, while Pepsi-Cola, affected by sugar rationing, only had a meager $26 million. Most importantly, through marketing, Coca-Cola deeply embedded itself in people's minds as a brand representing patriotism and traditional families. Those soldiers far away on the battlefield felt a sense of home when drinking Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola capitalized on this frenzy, engaging movie stars for Christmas events, distributing numerous gifts, and covering cities with advertisements. On the other hand, Pepsi-Cola realized that no matter how it marketed itself, it couldn't compete with Coca-Cola in terms of brand culture. So, they decided to take a different path. Since Coca-Cola always propagated a brand image associated with patriotism and traditional families, Pepsi-Cola decided to link its brand image to young people, becoming the drink favored by the younger generation. After 1950, with the widespread adoption of television in the United States, Pepsi-Cola hired the most beloved celebrities among the youth for endorsements, advertised during various music events and sports competitions, and even introduced the highly provocative advertising slogan, "Cool young people drink Pepsi-Cola," while old-fashioned parents drink Coca-Cola. The packaging of the product itself was also significantly adjusted for young people, with the bottle's appearance changed to a unique spiral pattern. The logo was incorporated with blue, vibrant colors that resonate well with the youthful spirit. Additionally, the taste was slightly sweeter, aligning more with the preferences of the younger demographic. Coincidentally, following World War II, the United States experienced a baby boom, with 76 million people born from 1946 to 1964. This demographic had a stronger inclination towards Pepsi, which represented freedom, rebellion, and liveliness. Moreover, Pepsi was more affordable than Coca-Cola, making it a trendy symbol during that period. By 1970, Coca-Cola held a market share of 29.7% in the soft drink market, while Pepsi had caught up to 19.8%. Pepsi-Cola's marketing strategies during this time were notably successful. However, even in targeting the younger generation and engaging in differentiated competition, Pepsi didn't forget to continue targeting its old rival. In 1975, Pepsi-Cola devised a large-scale street test. Participants, unaware of the brands, chose their preferred cola. Surprisingly, the vast majority chose Pepsi-Cola. Utilizing this, Pepsi edited the recorded process into an advertisement, repeatedly airing it on television. This move heightened its visibility and traffic, leading to a steady increase in market share. Finally, in 1979, Pepsi-Cola's market share surpassed Coca-Cola for the first time by 1.4%. These advertisements made Coca-Cola lose confidence. They began questioning if they were truly inferior to Pepsi. In Atlanta, they conducted a secret test with 100 consumers, and 52 did indeed choose Pepsi. This sent them into a panic, resulting in the company making its biggest mistake in history. Coca-Cola secretly initiated a plan to change its formula. They reduced fizz, increased sweetness, giving Coca-Cola a smoother taste. Spending $4 million on research across multiple U.S. cities, they found that 61% of consumers believed the new flavor was better. Following this, Coca-Cola's chairman and CEO Roberto Guzreta held a grand press conference, announcing Coca-Cola's intention to change its classic formula. Upon learning this, Pepsi-Cola promptly launched a new advertisement, "Why Did Coke Change?" mocking Coca-Cola's attempt to make its taste more like Pepsi-Cola's, questioning why people shouldn't directly buy Pepsi-Cola instead. However, when the new flavor was launched, consumers not only rejected it but also sparked outrage. Many took to the streets, protesting against Coca-Cola's new formula, even pouring the new Coca-Cola down the drains in protest. Coca-Cola headquarters were flooded with calls. An average of 1,500 angry consumers called daily, demanding the return of the classic taste. Some patriotic citizens, who didn't even drink cola, joined the protests, claiming that Coca-Cola was part of their tradition, and altering the formula damaged the American spirit. Post-protests, Coca-Cola invited these protesters for blind taste tests. Interestingly, they also found the new formula tasty. However, when told which was the old formula and which was the new, they immediately preferred the old formula. This perplexed Coca-Cola. Yet, there's now a conclusion. In blind tests, people generally prefer a slightly sweeter taste, which leaves a more impressive impact. However, liking the first sip doesn't mean liking the entire bottle. Coca-Cola suffered a nearly 40% decline in market share during that year. Coca-Cola had to admit the failure of this strategy. The new Coca-Cola survived only for 3 months before being announced for discontinuation, reverting all Coca-Cola back to the old formula. Surprisingly, when the original formula was reintroduced to the market, Coca-Cola experienced a frenzy of purchases. Everyone had a feeling of regaining something lost, and suddenly Coca-Cola's performance began skyrocketing again. This also proved Coca-Cola's immense brand value. They reaffirmed their path toward a classic, traditional family-oriented mass beverage. Pepsi-Cola has always been quite focused on targeting Coca-Cola in its marketing. For instance, there's that classic ad where a young boy tries to buy Pepsi-Cola but can't reach the vending machine, so he buys 2 cans of Coca-Cola to use as a step stool. To flank Coca-Cola with a diverse range of products, Pepsi acquired the lemon soda brand, 7-Up. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola officially introduced Fanta in orange flavor and Sprite in lemon flavor to compete with 7-Up. In countering Fanta, Pepsi intensified its promotion of Mirinda. After partnering with McDonald's, Coca-Cola would provide its beverages to customers, prompting Pepsi to acquire Pizza Hut and KFC to venture into the fast food business. In 1965, Pepsi merged with Frito-Lay and became PepsiCo. Many well-known snack brands today are under the umbrella of PepsiCo. Perhaps Pepsi realized it couldn't shake Coca-Cola's position in the beverage market. but it could explore new markets in other areas. In 2022, Coca-Cola's annual revenue amounted to $43 billion, rightfully dominating the beverage industry. Meanwhile, Pepsi's revenue reached $86.3 billion, double that of Coca-Cola's, with more growth stemming not from beverages but from snacks. In terms of their business models, these two companies have ventured onto completely different paths. Returning to Coca-Cola, it has consistently been one of the world's most valuable brands. As of December 10, 2023, Coca-Cola's market value stands at $253.3 billion. The shrewdness of Coca-Cola lies in removing the most critical elements from its business, solely focusing on marketing and product design. All production processes are outsourced. The main components of the beverage are water, and the water resources are from municipal water systems funded by taxpayers' money. Coca-Cola has never paid a penny for these resources. One might argue that Coca-Cola pays for water during production. However, these water costs are paid by numerous bottled water producers worldwide. Coca-Cola's parent company only provides syrup. Although it seems Coca-Cola is giving a margin to the bottlers to make money, in reality, each time Coca-Cola expands to a region, it gets to use the area's water resources for free. Moreover, it transfers all risks to the bottlers. The most crucial ingredient in Coca-Cola, sugar, during price surges, led the company to produce sugar-free Coca-Cola concentrate, allowing the bottlers to add sugar according to the recipe, thus shifting the risk of sugar price fluctuations to them. Initially, Coca-Cola used glass bottle packaging, but due to the high costs of transportation and cleaning, it shifted to one-time aluminum cans, much lighter than glass bottles and disposable after use without the need for transportation and cleaning. However, dealing with this waste became a problem. This includes Coca-Cola's later use of cheaper plastic bottle packaging, filling up U.S. landfills instantly. Plastic bottles were difficult to clean and couldn't be reused. At the time, several state governments jointly criticized Coca-Cola. Consequently, Coca-Cola rallied all beverage companies in the market, including its longtime competitor Pepsi, to fund and promote a massive campaign against the government. Ultimately, the responsibility for recycling these disposable bottles fell entirely on government finances, which, in turn, were funded by all taxpayers. Many investors, including Buffett, adore Coca-Cola. They argue that Coca-Cola has a moat because it only needs one brand and a mysterious formula to keep earning money continuously. It perfectly shifts costs and risks onto every person worldwide. Even if you don't drink Coca-Cola, you still end up paying for it.